And so here's this woman. I want you to picture now. You're in the press. And here's this woman. She didn't get a chance to make sure her hair was combed properly or brushed properly, that her clothing was on properly. She was caught in the very act of adultery, and they grabbed her. So her look was disheveled, filled with embarrassment. And she stands there in front of the crowd. They forced her to stand there. We can extract from the text that this woman had some measure of religious affiliation, because if she was a woman that was godless totally and wanted nothing to do with God, she would tell these guys, look, just let me go. Just get lost. I'm not bothered with you. I don't believe what you guys believe. Get away from me. But she didn't, because there was stuff going on inside of her. Maybe a distorted view of God, maybe a broken perspective of herself, maybe some other conflict that was going on. But though she subscribed to the Jewish faith, she wasn't living up to it. And so we can understand that from the text. And the religious people, when we look at the text, they cared more about the law, the truth, if you may, than the person. See, the law, when I use the word law, capital L, I'm referring to the law of Moses, the first 5 books of the Bible. And in the law, the 5th book, Deuteronomy 22, verse 22, hones in on this very infraction. It says, if a man is found sleeping with another man's wife, both the man who slept with her and the woman must die. You must purge the evil from Israel. So we understand that both of them should have been brought out in the public square. Then based on the law in Deuteronomy 17 verse 7, the witnesses, at least 2 of them, they are the ones supposed to throw the first stone at the woman because they saw her and they were eyewitnesses. And the crowd that had gathered around, they, according to the law, was supposed to follow suit and throw stones at her. In fact, verse 7 of Deuteronomy 17 reads like this: the hands of the witnesses must be the first in putting him to death. In this case, her to death. And then the hands of all the people. You must purge the evil from among you. I want us to take a step back. We are reporters today. And when we want to look at what is the real base, what's the crux of the story, what's really the underpinning, what's really holding this together, why the headline article, woman caught in adultery? Why are we leading that way? Well, when you look at it, you find that the religious people that were there, they wanted to show up Jesus. There's a lot going on. When they brought her in front of Jesus, in front of the crowd, there was a whole lot of traps underneath their actions. One, if Jesus said stone her, the law says stone her, truth of Scripture says stone her, then he would be guilty of inciting a crime against the Roman government, because the Roman government were the only ones that can institute this kind of capital punishment, because the Jews were under Roman law. And so if he did that, Jesus that is, then Jesus would be imprisoned. So they were trying to trap him that way. They were also trying to trap him from the perspective that we want to show the public that this Jesus, he's not really a teacher of the Scriptures. He's not really a rabbi, which means teacher. He's not that. In fact, he doesn't even believe the law. He doesn't even follow the law. He doesn't uphold the law. And so what they wanted to do was, as the sociologists call, they wanted to reduce Jesus' social capital. You know, his trust among the people. And so that's why they rushed her in. You know what Jesus did? He stooped down and he started writing on the ground. I don't know about you, but I'm very nosy. I'd like to see what he wrote. But the Scripture is silent, doesn't tell us what he wrote. But we do know it was clear enough that when he wrote something, that those who read it, the Scripture says from the oldest to the youngest, they walked away. They were moonwalking, just slipping back. I don't know what he did. I don't know. He may have written down their sins. He may have written down who they were with at some time ago. But the Scripture is clear that they started to walk away. Then Jesus concludes, he says, woman, where are your accusers? Is there no one that condemns you? She responds, no one, sir. His retort, neither do I condemn you. go and sin no more. What was the base of the problem here? Yeah, it was Jesus and how he dealt with truth. He added a dimension to truth that we so need. He added grace to it. See, truth could be cold and hurtful and harsh and unnerving, and it can create pain and stain and sting, and it can do so much destructiveness to it because its truth is hard and can be cold. But Jesus, he melted the coldness of truth with grace.